Hello and welcome to today's live in the Naturally Managed Menopause group. I'm Sally Varley and I am an acupuncturist first and foremost, but my total passion is dealing with hormones, fertility and menopause. And today our guest speaker is the lovely Elaine Denton, who actually lives in the same village as me. And we've known each other for about 3 or 4 years now. And Elaine, I first met her because she's a really amazing yoga teacher, but she's also a qualified life coach, and she focuses a lot on mindfulness and meditation. So I'm really excited that she's agreed to come and talk to us today, because she's got some brilliant tips to share with us about mindfulness during menopause. And she's also going to show us a very simple breathing technique that will help keep us all calm, which is definitely something that we need very much at the moment. So welcome, Elaine, over to you.
Thank you, Sally. Wonderful introduction. So my name's Elaine. Mindfulness. Mindfulness is the practice of being in the present moment, whether that's getting out of bed in the morning, whether that's halfway through a work conversation. It's the ability for you to kind of click back in to where you should be rather than allow your mind to wander off. Mindfulness is great for bringing you back into your body and feeling sensations and really registering what's going on. Mindfulness often gets confused with meditation, and for that reason some people sometimes a bit put off by the term mindfulness, in that they think that they're going to have to embark on some form of regime, meditating for hours a day. Meditation is a more pure and concentrated form of mindfulness. Mindfulness and meditation, the common theme is being present in that moment. Meditation, you might be focusing on one thing. You might be focusing on a thought, an affirmation, for a long period of time, to allow you to open your mind, to allow your subconscious to start to become awake, so that you can hear it and you can feel it. And it allows you that deeper level of work, if you like. Mindfulness can be practiced any time of day. It can be as short as 1 minute. It can be with you for your whole day. It can be with you for some of your day. However short your mindfulness is throughout that day is helpful. So even if you just did 1 minute of mindful breathing in the morning, it would help to calm you down. It would help to bring some balance to your central nervous system. And it would enable you to then go, right, what's next? For me, the beauty of mindfulness is that whenever you're mindful, you then create a choice. It gives you a choice of what to do with the information you now know. So if you are mindful in the moment and you really get in touch with what's happening right now, how do I feel about what's happening right now? What's going on inside my body? Why am I feeling like this? So when you're mindful to it, you then go, okay, so is it the external environment? Can I change that? Is there something going on internally? Particularly when working around women's cycles and menopause, all of these fluctuations and changes that happen, being mindful and present to them rather than trying to fight with them, rather than trying to deny that they're there. Just to be mindful that they are there and it's normal, and keep reminding yourself that it's okay. It's because I'm at this point and that's why it's happening. That's how mindfulness really serves you to move forwards, particularly with menopause.
Sorry to interrupt, can you just explain to anybody that doesn't know, like, why is it important for us to calm our central nervous system?
So our reactive state, the way we take action in life, is very much a very kind of quick circuit decision, and then before we know it, we're taking the action that we maybe don't want in our lives. So with mindfulness, particularly breathing in a mindful way, what you're doing is you are almost resetting your central nervous system. So you've got your fight or flight, and you've got your rest or digest. Let's say they're opposite ends of the scale. Let's say this is your fight and flight. So your fight and flight is often up here, waving constantly at you. And your rest and digest, for most people actually, maybe only rely on it when we're sleeping. We don't consciously cultivate this, but we subconsciously cultivate a lot of this. So you can see there's a big imbalance, yeah? The scales are way too high on this side and way too low on this side. When it's way too high, you're constantly in your fight and flight, your decision making will be impaired, your energy levels will be lower, you will feel exhausted most of the time, there will be massive fluctuations in your body, you know, the way your body reacts, your hormonal state. All of these things can be exasperated by too much stress, too much action, too much pushing forward. So if we can create spaces of time throughout the day where we tap into this rest and digest, you're just pressing reset, pressing pause throughout your day, you know, pulling back, allowing everything in your body to come back, because we need fight and flight. It's always present. It doesn't go away. It doesn't really shut down. It's there for action and we need it. But we don't need so much of it that we are creating this physical and emotional state that we often find ourselves in. And actually, you know, I'm sure you've all heard this, but during the menopause, this can be heightened anyway. Without you having to do anything. So the more you can balance and bring more of this into your life, the better you will start to feel, because when you are calmer physically, your heart rate will lower, your blood pressure will lower, your thought process will completely change, because you'll be coming from a place of calm, and your decision making will be more logical and will be more helpful. You'll be less angry, you'll be less tired. So many benefits to bringing your central nervous system into balance.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a great point, because I think our whole culture and society is built around dry, go constantly. You know, I read something the other day that said the average person is looking at a screen within 20 minutes of waking up. You know, which is, and we all spend hours doing that kind of thing. And obviously the current situation during coronavirus, which is when we're recording this, you know, we're all having to adapt constantly. There's a threat out there that we can't even see. So our bodies are definitely under stress, and our minds. And as you said, during menopause, the fight or flight response can be very much heightened because of this life stage, because your hormone levels are changing anyway. And when things like estrogen's falling, then it's slowing down your digestion, and it's leading to, you know, bloating and indigestion and constipation. You might not be sleeping very well because your brain's going constantly, and you just end up in this sort of catch-22, don't you? And I know it sometimes feels counterintuitive that when you feel really busy, you think, I've just got to get on with it. But actually you can go to your work or whatever you're doing with a very scattered mind. But if you take the 5 minutes to do some stretches or some breathing, or go for a quick walk around the block, or just go and sit in your garden if you've got one for 5 minutes and breathe the air and hear the birds, you can come back with this renewed sense of focus and concentration, because you've allowed your body to come back into that rest and digest phase.
Absolutely. So, and I think that, you know, when you talk about all the physical aspects, you know, the bloating and the not digesting food very well, and all of these things, you know, as you know, the vital organs all work with each other. So if you're doing things to lower your heart rate and, you know, the blood pressure will lower, all of the other vital organs are going to respond appropriately. So you will find yourself, you know, being able to reduce your bloating, digest your food better, even mindful eating, you know, how many of us just eat on the hop?
Yeah.
Oh, quickly, I've got 10 minutes, I'm going to have lunch now. We try and cram everything in, and, you know, all of these things should be and can be very mindful, but it's about you creating the time for that.
Yeah, exactly. And it's all connected, like you've just said. So I think the mindful eating is another important one, because I know, in fact, I was recording another session with somebody yesterday all about body image. And again, we were talking about mindful eating. Yes, it's very. I was talking to this lady yesterday who's a psychotherapist, and she works a lot with body image. And we were talking about how, you know, often there's a lot of emotional eating going on at the moment, and quite mindless eating that people do in general, where, you know, maybe you bung something in the microwave and then you sit on the sofa in front of the telly and you shovel it in, and we're just not focusing on the taste or the texture or the whole process of having a meal. It's just a kind of activity that we do without thinking, and then we wonder why we don't feel very good afterwards, or we want to keep eating because we're not really satisfied, because we've not given our brain time to process the fact that we've just consumed our dinner. And yeah, so I think the thing I like about mindfulness is, like you said, is that I think when I think about meditation, oh, I don't want to do that, I'm too busy to sit down and, you know, for half an hour and try and not to think of anything or whatever. But with mindfulness, as you said, it can be done anywhere, anytime, just for very short bursts, but it's just about kind of catching that habitual reactivity and instead bringing yourself back to center. It's really helpful.
Absolutely. And I think mindfulness is most accessible to everybody. Mindfulness can lead to meditation practice. It doesn't have to. But mindfulness is something that we can tap into at any point of the day, when we just need to become present and understand how we're feeling, so that we can understand what makes us tick. We know we don't really have this understanding, most people don't, of what makes me happy, what makes me sad, what makes me feel good, what doesn't make me feel good. And then move away from the stuff that doesn't make you feel good and move more towards the stuff that makes you feel good. Even those things, you know, mindfulness is wonderful. If you enjoy eating certain foods, yet you've developed a relationship with them that doesn't make you feel good, it may then serve you to be mindful to, well, I like them, so how can I reframe that so that I can still enjoy them? You know, because as you said, people work with body image and stuff, you know, there's a lot of guilt and stuff around food and all of these things. And, you know, it just helps you to become really consciously aware of the choices you're making and how they're making you feel, and whether you want that to change or not.
Yeah. And I think also, by the time we get into menopause, I mean, if you're not sleeping because you're having hot flushes that are waking you up multiple times a night, you're maybe you've put some weight on, perhaps you're suffering anxiety, you know, you've got joint ache, there's all sorts of things that can make you feel so physically and emotionally rubbish, that it becomes very hard to make the right, I don't want to say the right choice, but like, you know, you're not a bad person if you go for the cookie every day or whatever, but just you can feel like your life's running you, not the other way around, and that you're on this kind of treadmill where you don't feel very good, but you can't get off it because you're too damn tired to make a good decision for yourself that brings you into a good place. So I think it's about finding techniques that are very simple and that don't rely necessarily on having lots of time without kids around, or, you know, to go and be in a quiet place. That if it's just, that's what I like about the technique you're going to show us, that it really is a sort of 5-minute thing, isn't it? Or even 2 minutes.
Absolutely. Yeah, and I'll do a very short version of it today. because it really just brings home to, wow, that was only 2 minutes. Like, it felt like much longer, or you wanted to keep going. And 2 minutes you can fit in anyway. If you have to spend an extra 2 minutes on the loo, do it on there. You know, if you need to just get in your car 2 minutes early and you spend time breathing, do that. Wherever you can fit it in is useful, and it is really it's really easy to remember.
Yeah, the car's a good tip, I think, because I've heard a few people, especially since lockdown, saying, oh, I just went and sat in the car and wrote some emails or something the other day. But whether just to go and get 5 minutes outside of your four walls that we've all been stuck in, and just away from your family or whoever it is that you need a bit of peace from, I think is a really good idea. And so do you incorporate mindfulness into all of your yoga classes?
Yeah, so I mean, yoga is a very mindful practice anyway, because there's this constant reminder to breathe, and there's this constant reminder of what is this pose, how is it feeling, what's happening for you, do you need to adjust it, do you need to stay with it? So yoga is a practice of bringing mind to body. And when you start to bring mind to body and you're aware of your physical reaction to certain things in yoga, i.e. breathing and movement, again, you decide where you go next. Do you need more from this pose, less from this pose? Do you need to breathe more? It's a really mindful practice anyway. Now, some people will practice in a very mindless way and just perform the poses. And even that's okay, because the nature of yoga, fundamentally by the end, we start to wind people down. There will be some benefits to the relaxation at the end, even if you're not fully invested in a mind-to-body practice. Most people find that once they get into the body stuff, then they start to explore the mind stuff more.
Yeah, I've always found that if I'm not fully concentrating on yoga, I just fall over. I can't hold the pose. I've got no balance or anything. So I agree with you. It's a really good way of just bringing yourself into your body. And so many of us spend our lives like from the neck up, don't we? Because we're just overthinking all the time and not always sort of fully connected in how we really feel physically and what we could do to make that better. So let's have a go at this breathing technique.
Yeah. So ideally you'll be seated and making yourself comfortable. If you're in a chair, feet flat to floor, just so that you can really feel present and feel grounded and feel comfortable. So make yourself as comfortable as you can. And then closing the eyes if it feels okay. If it doesn't feel okay, keep the eyes open and bring your focus to a point in front of you. Become aware of your breath. Become aware of how you're breathing. Is it in through the nose and out through the nose? Is it in through the nose, out through the mouth? Make it feel comfortable for you, however you're breathing. The technique we'll be using is box breathing. So I'm going to guide you to breathe in for 4, hold your breath for 4, breathe out for 4, hold your breath for 4. So we create this little box shape. And for some of you, while you're breathing, you will hear me. For some of you, you will visualize a box. And all is okay. However you get into this is fine. And before we begin, I want you to take a few deeper breaths. So I call these belly breaths. And it's where you can feel the breath in your belly. And we know that physically the breath only enters the lungs, but as you fill up the lungs, the belly will start to move more with the breath. Just starting to deepen. And then take a breath in and empty out. Breathing in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Exhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breath in for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold for 1, 2, 3, 4. Breathe out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Hold out for 1, 2, 3, 4. Deep inhale, deep exhale. Allow your breath to fall into a more natural rhythm. Start to blink open the eyes and come back physically into the moment. Hopefully, you'll be feeling calmer, a little bit more refreshed, like you've just pressed pause, and then able to move on with the rest of your day.
I really do. It's amazing, isn't it? It's, the thing I find is, do you recommend that people, hold their breath for as long as they can count to, or, for more or less? Because I sometimes, when I first start doing it, even getting to 4 can feel like, oh, I need to breathe out, and then as you relax into it, it becomes much easier. And what's your thoughts on that? Does it matter?
So you can, rather than counting for 4, you can inhale, pause at the top of the inhale, and as you exhale, pause at the bottom, and you've only paused for as long as you feel comfortable with. The box technique works well because it's counted, so if you wanted to use a 2 or a 3 breath rather than a 4 breath, you absolutely can. Work with what feels right for you. Even if you're not comfortable holding your breath, just breathing in for 4 and out for 4, and finding a rhythm and a flow will help you to get to a point of relaxing your central nervous system and coming into your rest and digest. So you can change it to however you want and what works for you. What can be quite good about being in a new situation or slightly uncomfortable, not to the point where you feel like you can't breathe, but you feel like, oh, this is longer than I'm used to. It actually focuses your mind really, really like in that present moment, because it's not new, it's new, it's a bit uncomfortable, I've never done this before. And like you said, sometimes you give it a few breaths and actually it feels okay, you get into a new rhythm. And if you think that actually what you're creating is a new rhythm, it's so far away from maybe what you're used to that your body will be like a little bit panicked by it. But actually the more you do it, the more this rhythm becomes normal, you then start to feel like you could do it for ages. Like you could just keep doing this breath over and over again. So persevere with it, see how you get on, and then adapt it if it's really not working for you. There's no right or wrong really with mindful breathing. It's consistency and just making sure that you do it, and make sure that you find a way of being fully present to your breath. whether that's feeling the belly move, whether that's counting the breath, which I find really useful because it really engages the mind. Yeah, working in a way that feels good for you.
Yeah, it's so brilliant. And is there a reason that were you saying to do it sitting in a chair with your feet flat because we are sitting in chairs right now? Or, I mean, can you do it when you're lying down, or would that usually make people fall asleep?
It depends. So when you lie down, your body will automatically come into a more relaxed state. So there is a danger that if you are mindfully breathing for a long period of time, you might start to get too relaxed and sleepy. The benefit of doing it upright is that actually you're training your body to breathe in a way that's natural for the position you're in most of the time. If you're really new to it, lying on the ground is great because your abdominals will relax, therefore you could probably get a bit more free flow of breath. But your organs and everything else are in a different position and more akin to that kind of resting in sleep state. So if you're upright, this means you're training your mind to breathe in a position that you're probably going to be in when you do it. So if you're in the car, if you're at work, you can't then go and have a lie down, because sometimes we train ourselves to do stuff and then we can't replicate it. And that's the same kind of thing as meditation. Now, meditation is great, but to drop in the office and do 30 minutes in a seated position in a corner somewhere and do 30-minute meditation is just not right for most people's lifestyles. So being able to do it in this position creates that connection, that circuit, that this is familiar, therefore I could now do this out walking. I could go and do this in the car, and you're not relying on an external factor, i.e. lying down, to be the thing that makes you do the mindfulness, if that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And actually, that is great because, like you say, most of the time in our waking hours, we're sitting somewhere, whether it's in a car or at a desk or on a sofa. And so the ability to just truly, I mean, someone could even do this while they're queuing for the supermarket, holding onto their trolley. And I always notice that when I start doing it, I'm breathing right here, and then it slowly goes further down. So I just think it's fascinating. Thank you for sharing that with us. And
my pleasure.
Yeah, so anybody who's watching would love to hear how you found it, whether you've come across it before. And it is actually something that I often recommend to my clients if they're having trouble sleeping, even though we've just said about not doing it lying down. But obviously, if you do struggle with insomnia or your mind's very busy and you can't switch off, this is a great way to kind of distract yourself and bring your body into that very calm state so that you can easily drop off. So give it a go and let us know how you find it. And meantime, where can people find you, Elaine?
The easiest way to find me is on Facebook. I'm currently on there as Life Yoga Fitness because they're all the three things I work in. LYF Life Yoga Fitness is my Facebook page, and then you'll find links to all of my other social media through that. So that's where I generally direct everybody, and you can come message me, like the page, comment on something. So however you want to connect is brilliant, and I'd love to see you there.
Awesome. And Elaine does lots of regular interesting videos and things while she's walking around the fields. And I never bump into you down there, but one of these days we will cross paths. And yeah, she's just got such a great outlook on things, and lots of pearls of wisdom that she regularly shares. So I do encourage you to check out her social media sites. And she, of course, like most of us, she's working mainly online now. So, you know, definitely it doesn't matter where you are. She can help you if she shared something that interests you today. So take care, everybody. And thanks for watching. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.